This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Bolton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Well, welcome today to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. What's up, Shanan?
What's going on, Bishop? How you doing tonight?
Well, Shanan,
all around the world.
All around the world. We're all around the world, Shanan. We're going around the world. You know, Straight Talk, we deal with Straight Talk of issues facing political, education. Just anything that's an issue that's relevant to society, our society today. And so tonight we're going to be talking about what's going on with across the water and how the United States is being affected and our military people are being affected by what's going on in other parts of the world. So we'll be talking about that. We'll have Ms. C on. She'll be on and do what she does on search news or news and information. If you have any news information, send it to Miss C. She loves giving out information. She just thrives on getting information. So send it to her at Straight Talk News. Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. No, and I had a Miss C moment. I had a Miss C moment.
Don't say you had a Miss C moment.
I had a Miss C moment. That's Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And then we'll have Mr. John Bolton, who was the ambassador for U.S. Security for under the Bush administration. He's going to be talking about on the Morning Joe show with the host there. He's going to be talking about what's going on as he sees it with NATO, what he sees going on with Iran, and those groups, the little cell groups that are being formed. And as we know, we lost some people this week, even from Georgia. A young lady from Georgia was a sergeant who was a part of that drone attack. So we'll be talking about that. Shannon and I give our opinion on what we see going on around the world. We'll be back on the other side with Big Papa. Big Papa about to have a child that's a year old. Big Papa. It's been, time is flying though. I mean, really, when you think about it, it looked like Sam was just born 3 months ago, and he's almost a year old.
First of all, you scared me when you say he's about to have a child. I thought you were talking about I just you scared me with that one. Yeah, man, time is flying. That's why you scared me, because time is flying. And this boy that went from drinking milk to eating sandwiches and whatnot,
Well, yeah, I tell you the truth that I was just getting Pampers for him, newborn Pampers, and now he's Jesus Christ.
Man, let me tell you something. It seemed like just the other day we were doing Pampers. Now he in Depends. I'm just saying, this boy.
Help us, Lord. Help us, Lord. Help us, Lord.
He's growing up fast, man.
Yeah, he is. He is. Time is rolling on, and it waits on no man. So we'll be back on the other side with Miss C, and then we'll be hearing from Mr. Bolton, and Shannon and I'll come back after that, and we'll have talk about what's going on around the world, and maybe what's going on in your community. All right? We'll be right back on the other side.
Hey, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Hope you're doing well today. Listen, before we begin, I want to send condolences out to the King family in the passing of Dexter Scott King. I know he will be missed terribly. As I saw his sister, Dr. Bernice King, as they were doing a memorial on TV, I can really feel the pain and the sadness of losing another sibling. And also, I want to send condolences to the family of Henrietta Diane Garner. She was one of our church members. She passed away, and they had her homegoing service. What a dynamic. I've never seen a homegoing service that was so befitting of the person that she was. She directed the choirs. She directed the handbell choir, the chancel, J.C. Williams chancel choir. She was a bookkeeper at a high school. She did a lot of things. Member of AKA. I can't think of all of her affiliations, but she will certainly be missed. She passed away at the age of 50, and we will certainly miss you, Henrietta. And I can say to the family, we all feel your pain. We all feel the loss. But God knows best. Anyway, let me tell you what I got for you. As we approach Black History Month, St. Philip AME Church wants you to join them for the film screening and conversation of the movie, The Smell of Money. This is a free event to be presented on Saturday, February 24th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Doors open at 9:30 a.m. St. Philip is located at 240 Candler Road in Southeast Atlanta, 30317. You can watch the trailer by logging into smellofmoney.com. That's smellofmoney.com. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what this is about. A century after her grandfather claimed his freedom from slavery and the family land, Elsie Herring and her North Carolina community fight the world's largest pork company for their freedom to enjoy fresh air, clean water, and a life without the stench of manure. After the screening, the filmmaker will join virtually for a question and answer after the screening. Okay? I'm planning on being there. I think that's going to be really great. Now, let me tell you about something else. Liberty International Church at 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Atlanta invites you to Family and Friends Day, February 18th at 10 a.m. There will be dynamic preaching and teaching, singing, and a Holy Ghost-filled service. There's going to be food, fun, and fellowship afterwards. The pastor is Letiska Roddy, and bishop and overseer is Greg Fann, the preacher man. All right. And I got one more to tell you about. The 59th anniversary of Bloody Sunday will be observed on Sunday, March 3rd. You can join the pilgrimage commemorating the Selma to Montgomery March and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. To get more information, contact Shaneri Ferris at 678-334-0058 or Sandra Williams at 678-209-6019. Now listen, this next thing I got to tell you about, I got to get it in order because Greg Fann, the preacher man, told me I'd be getting it out of order. So I'm going to try to do this. But you know what? I decided since he told me I don't do it in the right order, I wrote it down. Anyway, I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us. And those little buttons are right there on the front. Leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know. Let everybody know the Straight Talk News with Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Reverend Shanan Jones is on the air. And of course, with Miss C. Okay? Now listen, we'd be glad to announce your event. You can email it to straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And listen, we're going to see you right back here next time. In the meantime and in between time, may the Lord God bless you real good. Bye now.
And Ukraine's an interesting case. People always want to know my feeling. Number one, we're in for 200 billion plus, and the European nations are in for 20 billion. And it's more important for them. And don't you think they should equalize? Nobody asks them. It's like I did with NATO. I said, we're paying for NATO. And we don't get so much out of it. And I hate to tell you this about NATO. If we ever needed their help, let's say we were attacked I don't believe they'd be there.
Joining us now, former National Security Advisor and U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. He is the author of the book entitled The Room Where It Happened, which is out in paperback this week with a new foreword. And that new foreword serves as a warning about just how bad you believe a second Trump term would be. And in it, you write in part this. At this writing, Trump is well positioned for re-election for more than a year. This prospect has prompted pessimism and even despair among Reaganite conservatives. Political forensics experts may well conclude that their inactivity, standing on the sidelines, returned Trump to power. The facts, however, are clear that he is unfit to be president. If his first 4 years were bad, a second 4 will be worse, dismaying many ardent supporters. I hope what follows is a sufficient warning to America's voters to help avoid our worst fears from coming true. So the impact of a second term would be dangerous to our national security, to say the least. Are you saying that at some point people need to believe his rhetoric?
Yeah, I think Trump actually says what comes to mind. As a very astute person once said to me, he does not have a filter between his brain and his mouth. And so when he, for example, threatens to get out of NATO, as he did during his first term and has done since then, I think people better believe it. And I think that would be a catastrophic mistake for American national security and the security of the West as a whole. In the clip you just ran, he said several things that are simply incorrect. And it reveals an important trait about Trump on national security issues and many others. He's fundamentally ignorant. Mm-hmm. And he really doesn't care about the facts. He thinks international relations are about personal relations, which is a line and approach that I can tell you Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping are eagerly looking forward to.
So Republicans still have another option. I mean, it's unlikely, I guess, if you look at the numbers and the way the states are lined up. But is Nikki Haley a viable alternative? Would you advise Republicans to vote for her?
Well, I would advise her. I hope she would stay in until the convention and carry the banner for anybody who doesn't want Trump. A meteor might yet strike the earth. That's possible. Mm-hmm. It's possible there'll be an event in one of these criminal prosecutions that would really wake a lot of people up. Until the convention in August, I just don't think that we should surrender, in effect, to Trump. And I think this has a significant impact on the Senate and House elections this year as well. As for Nikki, I understand yesterday she said that whether Texas wanted to secede from the Union was up to Texas. You know, that's not true. So, but she can carry the banner for, as I say, for those who are deeply concerned about the risk of the Republican Party nominating Donald Trump.
Ambassador Bolton, good morning. I want to ask you about Ukraine specifically, and if Donald Trump is reelected, what that would mean. We know that Vladimir Putin is hoping to wait this out to see if Donald Trump, his old friend who has shown great affection publicly and privately, if he is in power. Mitch McConnell even said yesterday we've got to move on from attaching Ukraine and Israel aid to this immigration legislation because Ukraine desperately needs our support. What is your sense of the way things could go in the short term if we don't fund Ukraine, in the long term if Donald Trump is elected?
Well, in the short term, I've been worried for some time that Vladimir Putin would get up one day and say, you know, this war has gone on long enough. Let's have a ceasefire in place and start negotiating, which, of course, is what the Biden administration would love to do. That's their preferred outcome. But it would give Russia a new de facto boundary that would rapidly become permanent in Ukraine. I think Europe would fade away. I think this is a very dangerous time for Ukraine. If Trump gets in, what he has said on the campaign trail is he's get Zelensky and Putin in a room together and resolve the matter in 24 hours. Now, that's another silly statement from Trump. That won't happen. And when it fails, Trump will have to find somebody to blame. Obviously, it won't be his fault. So it'll be one of the other two. And I think the odds are almost 100 to 1 that it would be Zelensky. Putin would welcome that. A Trump election is not just bad news for Ukraine. It's bad news all around the world because that approach, his withdrawal from NATO, if he does it, and I think he will encourage the leaders in Beijing and elsewhere to take advantage of it.
Ambassador Bolton, President Biden has said that he has made a decision as to what the appropriate response will be in the wake of the drone attack in Jordan that killed 3 U.S. service members, and that we should expect it to happen in the coming days, and officials said yesterday could last weeks. You're someone who, of course, served as national security advisor at times of tension with Iran. What would be your thought as to an appropriate response, and would it include striking within the borders of Iran itself?
Well, I think first you have to get the strategic situation right, and I think the Biden White House has gotten it wrong ever since October the 7th. This is a coordinated action by Iran's surrogates, and it's not just the 160-plus attacks that the Shia militia in Iraq and Syria have made since then, and tragically on Sunday, it's the Houthis stopping commercial traffic in the Red Sea, Hamas obviously attacking Israel, and Hezbollah attacking Israel from the north. Iran has paid no price for any of this activity. And I think to get their attention and to make it clear we consider their behavior across the region utterly unacceptable, that there have to be attacks across what Iran considers a red line, and that's in their territory. Now, being a very moderate guy myself, these initial attacks in Iran do not need to be regime threatening. We can, for example, take out substantial numbers of air defense locations that Iran has set up. We can go after bases in western Iran that our military has wanted to attack for up to 2 decades, bases where the militias were trained and equipped, sent across back into Iraq to kill American service members. We can sink Iranian ships in the Red Sea that are aiding the Houthis, violate freedom of seas for the whole world. Now, that's what my first step would be. If Iran understands what we're up to at that point, then we might see hostilities diminish across the region. If they didn't, then we could consider other steps, and should. Do I think the Biden administration will do that? No. We hear they're tracing down the location of this bit of militia or that bit of militia that may have fired one drone. Look, we're not prosecuting a case in court. This is a war that Iran has launched, and they've killed Americans. They've crossed one of our red lines. It's time we crossed one of theirs.
Well, boy, I tell you. Thank you, Miss C. As always, Miss C does a great job. That's Shannon's friend. Like her, she messed with me, Shannon. She messed with me, Shannon, because I told her, keep consistent with what you say. Like us, subscribe, make comments, and share. And I want to thank Brother Leon Roberts. Roberts, he sent us a comment, a great comment. He loved the show. And my brother, Brother Greg Daphne over there at D&D Barbecue, he sent a comment about he said, man, you guys got great content and keep up the good work. Both of them did. And thank you, Leon, my classmate. And then also Brother Greg Daphne over there at D&D Barbecue over on Sylvan Road. All right.
Stop by there. Stop by Greg Daphne's place. Their food is delicious. I went to school with his wife, Kendra. They're great people, great family, and just good people. Good people.
Good people. Good food. And good ribs. hey, Shannon, Mr. Bolton, he laid out some things. You know, first he started off with Trump talking about he wants to get out of NATO, and then he's saying that NATO, if we really need NATO help, he didn't believe NATO would help us, right? And Mr. Bolton said, this man, he doesn't understand, he doesn't have any understanding of what his role is with national and international affairs. He doesn't know how he puts us in harm's way by saying some of the things that he says. So he said some other things, but I'm gonna let you jump in and then I jump back in after you make your comment.
I mean, first of all, just to that comment on Trump, I mean, Trump is almost 80 years old. He's lived through Desert Storm. He's lived through the Desert Shield, and all of the war efforts that America has entered into, with NATO partners being right there alongside of us. So I think that's baseless to say that they would not be there. But you know, it's so interesting that John Bolton was seen as almost. No one is the Donald Trump of anything. Donald Trump is an island unto himself, but during the George W. Bush administration, Bolton was seen as one of the more extremists, and now to see him as a moderate on MSNBC, as a featured and frequent guest to kind of explain the things of Trump and to really caution the nation about entering again into that Trump, as Jesse Jackson would say, stay out the bushes. We don't want to go in the bushes during the Bush administration. And that was way back then. How many people would love to see George W. Bush running for president again today against Donald Trump? So I have to say that I find myself agreeing strategically with what Bolton is saying in terms of what needs to be happening with Iran and to safeguard America's interests overseas, and what really needs to happen. And I think that President Biden needs to really look at that clip and really consider that with his administration.
Well, I agree with you. You know, sometimes we soft pedal stuff when we need to come at it. And he said it's been like that for years and years and years and years. And we have played with people, and now people are playing with us. You know, the 911, right? So, I mean, so we see what is happening across the waters, and then they're attacking our ships, killing our soldiers, and certainly our hearts go out to the family of those who lost their daughter and sons in that drone attack, and who was there serving their country and protecting us here. Right.
And sons and daughters of Georgia.
Of Georgia, yeah. So it really hurts us when we see the loss of young people who have given their time and their talents to protect our country, to keep us safe here in America, and then to have someone like Mr. Trump who is saying those things. And he said that, you know, when he made the comment about Xi and Putin would love for Trump to win. We've been saying that, right? We've been saying that. They would love for him to win because they'll have their partner. He'll be their partner. So, and in the comment when he said that, yes, they would love to, Putin would love to go ahead and say, let's have a ceasefire with Ukraine. Let's have a ceasefire. And then the issue then becomes Putin then can take the control of what he is now taken from Ukraine as a part of Russia, right? And he said, but that would be Putin's plan. He would love that to happen, right? Even though our president want a ceasefire, calling for a ceasefire, just like we're calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Pakistan. So I mean, Palestine against Israel and Palestine. So, I mean, these are things that are happening around the world that we're talking about, that we see. And as ministers of the gospel, we know what the word says about wars, and rumors of wars. And there's wars and more rumors of those wars. So we just want to keep you abreast of what's going on around the world. And on that note, bring it back home. We had an 11-year-old kid in Cobb County just the other day, shot twice in his leg by some other teenagers chasing him. We have got to get back to teaching and training our young people. We got to get back to teaching and training them about having morals and respect and an attitude, and the right attitude, and not do everything, try to resolve everything with a gun, because trying to take lives. You don't give a life, so you don't try to take life away. So we got to get back to that teaching, that old form of teaching that we were taught, because we're seeing too many needless deaths, too many people dying needlessly by gun violence, because the first thing people want to do is grab a gun. I don't know, Shanan, maybe your generation was different than mine, but we were taught if you can't give a life, you don't take a life. And if we got into an altercation with someone, then our parents would tell us, if somebody hit you, hit them back. They said hit them back. They didn't say shoot them. They said hit them back, you know. And that's what we did. And many times when we got in the altercation with individuals, when we fought, those people became our best friends. There was so many, fights. and we found that we had more in common than we didn't have in common. So we wasn't hating on trying to take anybody's life. We was just going to win the fight. And if we lost the fight, we still became friends. But we did not pick up a gun or a weapon to try to take someone's life. So we got to get back to that. We just got to get back to that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, my generation wasn't too far from yours. My father watched a boy bully me and literally watched me from his window, watched me just get tired of being bullied one day and just went ham on it. And I think after that fight, me and the young guy, you're right, we became pretty good friends. But after that fight, I was taken to Dairy Queen and the service merchandise to get myself a toy or whatever it was. So Dad was proud that I stood my ground. Now I wasn't the neighborhood bully, but I stood my ground. And again, we fought. We didn't shoot. Just today, at the time of this airing, it'll be yesterday. There was a shooting at a high school. Outside of the high school, young kids can't even shoot the guns and are shooting. So one day we're going to do a segment on all of this. And we're going to have to get to Mr. Kemp because we are going to have some common sense gun legislation in this state and in this nation. It's out of hand already.
It's out of hand. That's in McKeeshan High School. That high school. Yeah. So, well, listen, Shannon and I will be back with you next week right here on Straight Talk. We hope that you got something out of the program today that you will understand and know. And if you know other things that's going on around the world you want us to talk about, we're going to talk about what's going on around the world, but we're also going to talk about what's going on in our backyard. Because there's a lot of stuff going on down at that Demon Dome. A lot of stuff, laws are being passed that's going to affect you. And if you're really a person that's conscientious about what's going on, and you're really concerned about the homelessness, and you're really concerned about rent being too high, listen, this is what I want you to do. I'm putting it on you to do this. Go and look up Senator Donzella James. Email her. Let her know you support her bill. And write your representatives of your area in your area and let them know, both the senators and the state representatives and the governor and the lieutenant governor, that let them know that you support rent control, that the legislation that Senator Donzella James is proposing for rent control. Will you do that? They look out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. And we'll see you Monday at CBC, President Shanan Jones. What time? I think President Jones is froze up. But anyway, we'll see you Monday at CBC at Vickers on Beecher Street at 11 o'clock. And don't forget about South Florida Ministerial Alliance. We'd love for you to be a part. You can always write us. If you want more information, email us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And this ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the